Business news from the Capital Region. This is Washington Business Report with ABC7 national correspondent Rebecca Cooper.
Thanks for joining us for a fresh look at business and finance in the Washington region. I'm Bruce DePoit, in this time for Rebecca Cooper. Coming up on today's show, a small local company impresses readers of Inc. magazine. Our roundtable discusses the region's Olympic bid and how international issues such as Ebola and the ISIL threat affect our local economy. But first for you this time, every week, Washington Business Report brings you a one-on-one interview with big names from the business world. We have featured exclusive interviews with the likes of Donald Trump, Richard Branson, and Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz. This week, while Rebecca Cooper is off, we handed the microphone to the head of the Greater Washington Board of Trade, Jim Dinegar. He sits down in front of a D.C. business crowd with the CEO of Southwest Airlines, Gary Kelly. What you'll hear is why the airline is the biggest in our region, where it ranks in terms of employee salaries, and how being the one airline that doesn't charge extra fees is actually saving them billions.
In terms of 2014, we are finalizing the merger of AirTran into Southwest Airlines. That will be done on December the 28th. So on December the 29th, every flight will be the Southwest brand, and that is a major step forward. It'll be a great improvement for all of our customers and much easier for our employees to deliver as well. That also means that we've integrated the AirTran international flights into Southwest Airlines, so we launched the bookings for those in January, started flying in July. But I think more importantly, it makes Southwest Airlines the largest airline in this entire region.
It is not lost on me that we're neither south nor west, and yet we're one of your biggest, if not at times, your biggest hub.
I'll have to work on that south or west, but...
You know, Kanye and Kim named their kid Northwest. I guess you were hoping for twins. I don't know if that was going to work out all right.
Yeah. The world has just changed dramatically. The short-haul traffic in the United States is down probably 35% in 15 years because it is so sensitive to price. The other thing that's changed over the last 15 years is JetBlue, as an example, is celebrating its 14th anniversary. They just launched service in 2000. So today, there are low fares offered at virtually every airport in the United States. That was not the case up until 2000. Wherever Southwest flew, that made that airport the low fare airport.
Right.
And it provided a competitive opportunity to draw traffic in away from other airports. And that has changed dramatically. Now, if we want to grow our customers, we have to serve more locations and just face more low-fare competition. That's a fact. We've adjusted to that. And Southwest is more than double its size in 2000. So despite the fact that short-haul markets have contracted, we've still found opportunities and ways to grow.
Southwest has a very strong, very clear culture. I don't know if you get the AirTran folks involved in the chili cook-off, but we can talk a little bit about that. But I'll tell you, there's so much that goes on within the company. How do you bring them into the family, make them feel like family, because the employee engagement at Southwest is legendary?
Well, that's, I love the way you phrase the question. It is, we try to be as clear as possible with who we are, what we stand for, what are our goals, what's our vision, and part of that who we are, we try to describe as family. And then we try to encourage our employees to think of our customers as guests, as if they were in their own home. And then you behave accordingly. So now you're talking about taking two families and trying to jam them together. And we work very hard to make sure that a group doesn't feel like a stepchild. We've been low cost from the beginning, but our low cost was not based on having low pay. We've never been low pay. And in fact, now in 2014, we have the highest pay in the industry, and by far. So we get our low cost by our employees working harder working smarter, being more productive.
Talk to us about how these fees have changed the airline business and maybe even the public perception. Too much, not enough, where are some opportunities?
Well, the economics have definitely changed in 29 years. The early days, the majority of our costs were fixed, which simply meant the more you could fly the airplane during the day, the more you could drive down your unit cost and the lower you could make the fares. Now that has changed, and it's primarily because of energy costs. So now most of the costs are variable.
Right.
And that has driven up the need to fill up the airplane in order to at least break even. When I started in the 1980s, you could have a 35 to 40% load factor in the middle of the day and cover all the cash operating costs.
Wow, okay.
And today that's closer to 70%. Just a dramatic change in the economics. And that has spawned just different business models today. I love the quote from our Vice President of Marketing, Kevin Crone. He said, we're working hard to win customers. We want to connect them to what's important in their lives. It just makes sense to us that they might need to bring a bag with them. So we don't want to make that hard for them. We don't want to nickel and dime them. We don't want to make it difficult. We don't want to hide the ball. So from a variety of angles, our estimate is that if we charge bag fees, just as one example, we would lose customers. We would have what we call a defection rate, to the extent that it would be a net close to $1 billion loss of revenues. But we're also in the enviable position here as being the no-fee airline.
Right.
And we're the only one. So that distinctiveness is something that most companies would do anything to have that kind of a distinctive position. And in a market that some would argue is a commodity. A seat is a seat. I'll jump on an airplane and fly on anybody. Well, we want people to think of Southwest Airlines, and we have a lot of fans as a consequence, and we've got record earnings and a record stock price. I think it's all working out.
Our thanks to Jim Dinegar for conducting our one-on-one interview this week. When we return, our small business spotlight shines on a tiny Virginia outfit that is the third fastest growing company in the country. You won't believe their growth rate. Keep it here.